Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss the 5 most expensive albums ever made. Let's get right into it. More music is being made in bedrooms all over the world, now that home recording is more accessible than ever and practically anybody can hook up an audio interface to their laptop and start recording. Of course, the quality of these recordings may vary, but these days you can buy a decent sounding CD at a shoestring price. However, if you have the funds, there are a plethora of ways to inflate your recording expenses to ridiculous levels. With that in mind, let's take a look at some of the most costly albums ever produced. Number 5. Untouchables by Korn, $4 million. The follow-up to the American nu metal legend's massively popular, but lukewarmly regarded, Issues, and the band's 5th studio album. When Untouchables was released in 2002, the genre was already on its way out, and it didn't do anything to change that. According to frontman Jonathan Davis, the record only cost around $700,000 to make, though that's far from a cheap recording session. Instead of giving their crew the 2 years they needed to finish the record and risking them leaving for greener pastures, Korn decided to pay their salaries for 2 years, as well as the rent on 5 houses, for $10,000 each for 4 months. Despite receiving generally positive reviews, you'd have a hard time naming a song from this album other than Here to Stay. It was leaked onto file sharing sites over 3 months before its release, and Eminem's 3rd album, The Eminem Show, kept it off the top of the Billboard 200, all of which contributed to a very mediocre effort from the once titans of the genre. Number 4. In the Life of Chris Gaines by Garth Brooks, $5 million. Garth Brooks made a crazy one-time effort to release an album under the guise of fake rock persona, Chris Gaines. No, we have no idea why either. Over 50 musicians were reportedly utilized in the recording of this strange experiment, and the $5 million costs were only surpassed by the record label, spending 3 times that much on advertising for the unsuccessful album. The ultimate price of Chris Gaines was paid by Capitol Records president Pat Quigley, who lost his job as a result of the album's poor sales. Number 3. Hysteria by Def Leppard, $10.4 million. Def Leppard's 4th and most popular album was released in the 1980s. This is the one when the drummer's arm was amputated. This is the album that includes the songs Pour Some Sugar on Me and Rocket. This is 62.5 minutes of 80s goodness, complete with stonewashed jeans and hairspray. Once again, time is the culprit. Hysteria's 3-year production was beset by costly delays, the most notable of which was drummer Rick Allen's automobile accident, which resulted in the loss of his left arm. Because the album was so expensive, the band would have to sell 5 million copies just to break even. Hysteria not only includes a slew of fan favorites, but it also went on to rule the charts throughout the world for years after its debut. The album is presently the 51st best-selling album in the United States, tied with Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA for context, and has sold over 20 million copies to date. Number 2. Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy, $13 million. You knew this one was coming, didn't you? The band's 6th and most recent studio album, with the band having declined significantly from their golden days in the late 80s and early 90s, but still maintaining a sizable fan following. For the uninitiated, the album's title has become associated with all things ludicrously inflated and overdue, so that should give you a hint as to how this one finishes. Chinese Democracy got its beginnings between 1993 and 1997, with Geffen Records saying that Axl and the group were working on 50 to 60 songs. Not a great start in my opinion. Rose's perfectionism was legendary, but without longtime comrades Slash and Duff McKagan to keep him in check, his obsessive-compulsive illness had taken over. The consequence was 10 years of missed release dates, incessant songwriting, scrapping and rewriting, band members being dismissed or departing of their own will, and disputes with their own management and label. When Chinese Democracy was released in November 2008, it was widely lambasted, with critics pointing to the film's monotonous, meandering music and shoddy production as the major culprits. For the rest of us, it left us with more questions than answers. Why did it take so long to get this done? Why wasn't the record professionally mastered? What is the significance of the name Chinese Democracy? What is the significance of that piece of artwork? In the end, it could never have lived up to the hype. But China had the foresight to outlaw it. Number 1. Invincible by Michael Jackson, $30 million plus. The 11th and last studio album by the King of Pop, and the last to be recorded before his death in 2009, Invincible is, by a long way, the most costly record ever created. When your album's recording sessions last 4 years, you could notice that the studio fees start to build up. Invincible began recording in October 1997 and continued until August 2001, moving between the hands of 9 opulent producers. Not to mention the absurd $25 million promotional budget, which makes this record an astronomically costly undertaking. Plus, it's Michael Jackson. That's it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you never miss out on any future content we'll produce for you guys. We're signing off now, but we'll be sure to catch you all in the next one.